Hey y'all. On the video I did like a week and a half ago, I had mentioned the dreams that I had and I was going to do a video on that. So here it is. These were interesting. I'll say the last one because that was with somebody's karmic family, but I think it was also symbolic of what's going on in a lot of families. But it was two weird dreams that I had around relocations. The first one I had, we were at this place. It was really nice. It was like a really like large area, but they had like these huge like condominium homes. They were all really really big, and it was like a real nice place. But it's like people that were there and the people that were coming there, they had like all of their belongings. It was like high vibrational, like spiritual workers and lecturers. Some people kind of knew each other and some people didn't really know each other, so people kind of like meeting, and it was like a joyous thing. And I just remember like standing on a balcony and I was talking to someone, and that's when I kind of realized how they were made. They were like really large, looked like townhomes, but you could tell they were like the size of like regular homes. They were really large. And in the middle of it, I guess in between the two areas where they had like the rows like four, it was like a huge area in the middle. And it had like two rows of pools. And it was like just a really large courtyard. And it had like the kidney shaped pools. They weren't quite full size, but they were nice size pools like you would see in the backyard. And it was like a row of four and then like another row of four. So it was like each unit had like its own swimming pool. It was kind of like in the same courtyard, but each unit had its own pool. So at that point, it was, where, people were like meeting and talking. And me, it was another lady, and we were going to go walk down into this garage area to meet some more people that were coming in. And when we got down into the garage area, that's when I noticed it like looked really, really different. The garage was like really, really, it was really wide, really open. It was multiple levels. Looked like it had to have at least 6 levels. But I remember a car coming. It was like kind of way off to the left. And when I looked, that's when I noticed it kind of had this unfinished look to it because it was on the incline and the car was kind of coming down and it was like coming around. But when I looked at the side, that's when I realized it was like black rock. And that's when I was like, realized that it was like underground or something, or either deep in the mountains. But it's like everything else looked normal until when you went out into the garage. That's when you realized you were way out somewhere underground. And first I was like, underground? I was like, I know some shady stuff going on down there, so I don't know. But it looked like an underground place, or must deep in the mountains somewhere, but you could tell had been carved in and we were below. So I just thought that was interesting because I'm like, everybody, it was like a lot of high vibrational people meeting up to relocate somewhere that was real nice, but it was either underground or deep in the mountains or something. And I ended up waking up from that one. And the second one, it was a relocation one, but this one was really different, and it was really, really rushed. It was a lot of people on a plane. They were not in the USA. They were in another country. And the plane, it didn't even look like a regular plane. The best way I could describe it is looked like some type of military plane. But I remember it being in another country. But we had landed somewhere just temporarily because actually it landed outside like an open area. They had like a big warehouse, and some of us had went in, and I never forget, almost had like big backpacks on our back that were like military or like hiking like backpacks. And I guess there was so many people on that some of us, it was like a really quick layover, but it was like a really rush thing where some of us, we had went in the warehouse and we were looking for like another bathroom like to use since it was a lot of people. And went to use the bathroom. We were coming back out because the plane was taking off again to go somewhere else, but we were already out of the country. And I'll never forget, on the way out the warehouse, because I think it was like 2 other people with me. On the way out the warehouse, walking, it's like my legs just started going numb, like for no reason. They just started giving out. And I panicked because you could tell the plane was getting ready to leave, and I was, steady trying to run, steady running, and my legs almost just felt like gummy bears or something. And that's when I realized, even at the last minute, when we was trying to get away, something was still trying to get us stuck, like trying to have us to where we would get left. And it was like nothing around, but I kept running. But I do remember some force like trying to attack our legs to try to get us to miss that plane, to stop us from getting to our destination. That one was so rushed and so weird. I remember waking up right after that one because it was like real rushed, because I was panicking. It took so much, because since my legs were going out, it took so much for me to, muscle up the strength to hurry up, because I was like, I don't want to get left. And that struggle, I woke up like, the hell, I had to look around like, how when you wake up kind of off when you're like really struggling in a dream? That's how that was when I woke up, but I still was able to catch the plane. So it was 2 relocation dreams, but they were just completely different. And it was a collective thing. It was a lot of people together that particularly didn't know each other. But it was people who weren't left behind, people who were being moved somewhere else, but just different scenarios. So I said, that's interesting. And this was like a week later. This dream, this is just about a karmic family, but maybe somebody see this and they recognize it, because I remember the whole thing. It was like I was on this street just watching this stuff unfold. That's why I say, if you guys are still like tied in with karmic mothers, karmic families, it's so many plots going on in families now, it's crazy. But it was just street. And they had a guy who stayed in one house. The guy, it was only 2 people in that area that were like high vibrational. Everybody else was like on the low vibration, did low vibration stuff. And the guy, he stayed in one house. I just remember the house, all the houses on the street were off the ground. But this house, it was either like a lightish blue or gray. You could tell it was like an older house, but it had a completely screened in front porch. And his friend, well, let me describe him, because it was a guy, he was kind of like a dark-skinned guy. He had real long locks. I remember that. And I remember him wearing a white shirt. And it was like a long sleeve shirt. It was like a linen shirt, kind of like that linen-like shirt. And I couldn't really tell if he was a necklace or if it was something that he was holding. But I saw like a really, like a large ankh. But it had to be on something else, because I saw other colors around it. I'm not sure if it was like a wooden one, but it looked like I saw like red and yellow on it. But it was a ankh that just had something else around it. But the way it was standing, I couldn't tell if it was a pendant or like a little staff. So the guy stayed in that house with the screened-in porch, and kind of across the street, a few doors down, it was a family there. Now, the girl who's real close with the guy with the long locks, it was her family, but I think that she had already parted because her mom was really, really karmic. She had a really, really karmic family, but she wasn't completely detached from her family. But from the feeling I got that she didn't live in the house with them, because I don't know if it was her brothers, uncles, cousins, but at this house it always had like guys sitting in the front of it. They were her relatives. But her mom was like really karmic. And the mom was so freaking jealous of her daughter and her growth, because the daughter's on a spiritual path. I'm not sure if she did spiritual work. None of that came up. But since her daughter and the guy across the street, they were really, really close. So her daughter would always go over to the guy's house. And it seemed like their light, like really, it kind of triggered some people in the neighborhood, because they weren't doing the same things as everybody else. I think she stayed nearby, but I know it wasn't with her mom. But her light and the guy's light, it's almost like her mom was blaming the guy being on the spiritual path on the daughter. But the mom was just, she was a piece of work. She was so hateful. And their light triggered them, especially her, so bad. They are actually looking for ways to set the guy, to harm the guy, and make it look like she did it. Like by recording her, maybe like, because when she goes to this house, she goes right into the screened-in porch. But the way it's screened in, you can't really see good. And I think they were trying to plan on doing something to him when they knew she was going over there, so they can maybe like record her coming out of the screened-in porch in the front of the house, but not even coming out of the house, just coming out of the screen porch after he didn't answer the door, because they were thinking about doing something to him, and recording her leaving and saying it was her. Now it's not going to work, because that's going to backfire bad if they even try to do something. That's not going to work. But I think it was also symbolic of the people that are still even kind of partially connected to karmic families might want to sever those ties. And I definitely wouldn't, because it's just, I've been getting that so much and actually experiencing myself and picking that up. That's been coming up a lot for me, especially coming up on the holidays. People that hadn't totally separated. Especially if you the black sheep of the family and you're doing the healing work, you probably gonna get set up, or somebody's gonna try to set you up, put something in your food. But just that, what I mainly got from that was, like I said, their little plans of what they're gonna do is not work. And whatever it is, I know the guy stays across the street, because I could just constantly see she's triggered so bad, but she's so obsessed with it at the same time, because she would constantly come to the door and you can see her looking up and down to the right. So from her front door, the guy stays like, I get probably a few houses down to the right, not directly across, because the mug kept coming out and looking to the right, kept coming out looking to the right. And I was like, it's like they trigger her, but she's obsessed with it. She constantly watches the house, wanting to know everything. And what they do is not a business, especially with the guy, because he doesn't have anything to do with it. But it's just that her mom is so jealous of her. She just hates to see her on the right path. And like I said, her energy is triggering the hell out of them. So she's like actually plotting, trying to find ways to set her up. And she's kind of like the ringleader because I don't know, cousins, brothers, uncles, the guys that's sitting out there, they kind of like, she's kind of like the ringleader, which a lot of these so-called matriarchs are ringleaders in gang stalking within families, because that's bad too. But especially after these solar storms and the solar eclipse, you're going to see, especially that weekend, today is the 3rd, November 3rd. By this weekend and next week, you're really going to see that energy on the planet from those solar storms, and you're going to see the outcome of it, because you're about to see people, the people that are that's not doing the work. Like I said, you can't go into the next cycle if you're not, you know, coming from the heart frequency. Not healed above that is not going to work, and you really about to see a breakdown. But the problem is, it's going to mirror back to them more. So things just going to probably get a little rough. Like I said, just avoid negative people. Don't even argue. If somebody because people are going to be trying to pick arguments, especially like if you're doing the work, you're going to trigger them even more now. So avoid arguments with anybody. Let their ass have it.